Welcome to the Goddess Complex podcast. I'm Ashley Michelle, an astrologer, tarot practitioner, and Akashic Records reader. I am known as the mentor for all things spiritual awakening, no matter where you are on your spiritual journey. I am a modern mystic living in upstate New York, and my podcast is here to help educate you, enlighten you, and inspire you on all things occult. It's my journey and my job to shine a light on some of the heavier topics in spirituality around money, around star seeds, around mysticism, psychic abilities, the quantum field, and more. I absolutely love sharing with you the tools, books, and research that have helped transform my life into more than what I ever thought it could be. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the show. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Goddess Complex. I'm Ashley Michelle, your host. If you're new here, welcome home. And we are back with another episode and another guest darling. I am so excited to have Erin on here, Erin Lyons. She has served as one of my mentors on my own spiritual journey. I'm going to let her go. Erin, hi, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. I'm excited to flow with you today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So who are you? Who is Erin Lyons? Why would I want you on this podcast?
I am a universal channel. I'll get into what that is. A universal channel, a multidimensional healer, and a spiritual business and life coach. So as a universal channel, I do connect and work with galactic beings, angelic beings, but also entire universes. So the main collective that I currently channel is the Universal Council of One, or they came through as the Universal Council of Light. And they are a collective of universes, actual universes. So anything with the consciousness I can connect to. And of course, everything has a consciousness. So that is the work that I do. And I do a lot of quantum healing, helping the human collective ascend into higher frequencies and anchoring these frequencies into the earth so we can all expand into a more joyful, abundant, co-creative reality.
Yes, honey. I felt really rooted in my root chakra when you were like going in on that. That was amazing. So, Erin, you helped me open up my channel profoundly. I was forever changed after our connection when we worked together. I want to dig into this idea behind channeling. One of the things that I get a lot, and you probably get this all the time, how do you channel? How do you know when you're in channel? Am I doing it right? This whole idea around what is channel, what is not channel, and how do we move through this ego wall that happens when we're trying to get into channel. Yeah,
you're right. This is a question that I get all the time. And it's there's not a linear way to respond. It really is multidimensional.
Yeah.
Because we're all so different. And because you're always in channel, technically. Even if you don't consider yourself to be a channel, or people who are not, who are like nowhere in the vicinity of this type of information, channeling is just a natural part of who we are. We're always connected to spirit. Spirit is always trying to communicate with us. And this is the thing, guys. It doesn't always look like, oh, I recognize that I'm in channel, or I'm someone who can consciously, telepathically receive and transmit messages. It could just simply be you're in the right place at the right time and you receive a message from a friend, or you're listening to music and that song has exactly what you need to hear, or you're in the middle of cooking or playing a sport and you're in flow and you can just feel this energy moving through you. It happens so many different ways that I think we can't just say it only looks like what me and you do.
I feel like there's this wanting to conceptualize it inside the spiritual community. And like you said, I'm not sure that channeling can be something that's conceptualized, really.
It can't, because we all do it anyways. Now, what I will say is there are higher capacity channels like you and I, where it is a part of a greater soul mission. It is a part of a greater soul purpose. And so the ability to receive information or the frequency spectrum that we can tap into might be a little bit more. It doesn't mean that other people don't necessarily have those gifts, but it might not be a part of what their soul is here to do in this lifetime. It might not be a part of the main show, so to speak. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes people feel like, oh, well, why doesn't the way that I connect to my guides look like what Aaron or Ashley is doing? And just accept that whatever's meant for you to tap into will reveal itself. It's not necessarily something that you have to go and look for. Yeah. I love that. I love all of that. How did it happen for you? Like, what's your story? How did we get here to this wavelength that you're on, which is just electric? How did we get here? I grew up super normal as fuck. Just, I am a Black woman. So I was born to two Black parents who grew up in the 70s in Detroit. And so I had a very normal upbringing. I mean, I dealt with a lot of the things that many of you have probably dealt with, ancestral trauma, family trauma, toxic family things, scarcity, money, etc., lack. And I always had this innate knowing that there was something bigger going on. Like I always say, it feels like I was dropped off in the middle of nowhere. And naturally, I was always a seeker and I just wanted to figure it out. Like, I can remember being 7, reading the Bible, and I have like my highlighter and I'm like highlighting things, trying to piece together information. So that seeker part of me was always there, but people could never answer my questions. Like I would ask about, hey, like this thing within Christianity doesn't make sense, or like whatever. And, all of these adults, they had zero answers. So I kind of suppressed it. Went off to college. And then this is when spirit really started working overtime on me. I mean, I was just coming into so much information that just expanded my consciousness. And then long story short, I stumbled into an LSD experience.
You gotta love LSD, honey.
Yes. And I just want to say this. I always say this, but Black people were not doing LSD.
Oh, no.
Okay? To us, telling us, oh, you want to try acid, that's like saying you want to smoke crack. Okay?
Literally, it's not a thing in our community. Shrooms, all of that.
It's just now becoming like this
way more
acceptable,
normalized.
Communities of colors normalized at the time. And so this was about 7 or 8 years ago, guys. I had never seen Black people venture this far. And so my best friend, he was also super spiritual. He's like, look, you get it conceptually, but he's like, you got to experience it. I'm like, crazy. I don't know, this guy is crazy. But for whatever reason, I guess my soul just knew. And so I was like, okay, if you've ever done psychedelics, especially acid, once you're in there, there's no turning around. So
you're in it, honey.
I had no clue what I was getting myself into, and I had a total full-blown ego death. I'm talking, I died. I mean, that's really how I can explain it. I just died. And I returned to pure source energy. And I could just remember my intention for this lifetime. I knew I was here to be a spiritual teacher. And so coming out of that reality shattering experience, all of my psychic gifts were really blown wide open. But at the time, I was still really new to channeling. I didn't have that much information on channeling. So I'll say that was the starting point of me clearly being able to hear source, speak to me, angelic beings, and at the time, which I didn't realize, also galactic beings.
And Erin, you work with light codes as well.
Yes.
So, and I do too. And those of you that follow me know, but Erin has really honed in on her work around light code language and all of that. And my question for you is, we see way more tarot readers online than we do people working with light language. Why do you think that is?
As you know, I think, or what I can at least say, I see a lot with the powerful women, priestess, starseed women come to me. Sometimes it's a crutch. Tarot is definitely something that's more mainstream accepted. And I would say the same thing for energy modalities like Reiki. It's something that's found its way into, you know, you can even go to like the bougie spa and have a Reiki service, or perhaps there's some type of get a message or something like that. And
so why do you think light code language, first of all, any of you all who don't know what I'm talking about, just do a quick Instagram hashtag light code language. You will find what I'm talking about. I felt this woman's light code language, like something I never felt before in my life. And I have talked to so many people around light code language and having these same feelings, these intense feelings when light code language is happening. But like you said, it is still this hub of spirituality, even within the spiritual community, that is still like, I don't know if we accept this yet. Have you noticed that?
You know, I think it's one of those things that even what's coming through now, it triggers a collective memory of witchcraft and being stoned and doing something that is not of God. And because we're getting into like this weird language, and it's like, where is it coming from?
But I feel like I know it.
Like it's more ancestral, or it's more, you know. There is a collective trauma from those time periods where medicine women were stoned to death. I have multiple lifetimes where pretty much almost every single time that I came here, I was killed. So even for me, getting past that wound to just show up in my truth, it took a lot. And so I think a lot of us, it's easy to just say, well, I do tarot, or or even, I work with angels, because I think angels are also something that's really, you know, people seem to accept that. But then when you venture into the realm of like, galactic beings, now fine. So,
but is it so weird? Is it so weird?
Actually weird. It's not.
You know, I'm waiting for everybody to kind of catch up around these sorts of topics. I'm just over here like, I'll be here when you're ready, honey.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's wild. You give a ton energetically. What does your spiritual self-care routine look like?
My self-care routine.
Your spiritual hygiene. How do you keep yourself up? You give a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. What does it look like for you?
Honestly, when you are approaching this reality from a place of having fun. So I was just even going through this with myself a few weeks ago, because being online, it can be a competitive space. You can start to compare yourself to other people. And I had to collapse back into a place of, you know what? I just want to have fun. Yes, I want to impact like a fuck ton of people, but like really, I just want to have fun. And that has been the foundation, I would say, for me, just like energetically maintaining myself, because I think energetic self-care is just about how you maintain a higher vibration. And I maintain a higher vibration through fun and joy and love and just enjoying my time here. And that stops me from just feeling depleted and drained. That's why I can do back-to-back Instagram lives 5 days in a row, because I'm just so like, this is fun.
Yeah.
Drops in and I'm like, let's just show up. And I don't feel depleted. However, there are times where I do have to rest. So I might like not show up for like a week because energetically I do need to just have like a reset. So rest and play. And I just love the duality of that.
Ooh. Remind me again of your big three.
Leo sun.
I knew it because that was such a Leo thing to say. Rest and play. I was like, I'm pretty sure Aaron's a Leo, but remind me.
Rest and play. And that's what it is. It's like I bounce between being playful and then resting.
I fucking love it. I love astrology. Oh my God. Okay, so Leo sun, what's your moon and what's your rising?
Capricorn moon. So that gives me the structure to like build this spiritual empire. And then I want to say Pisces rising. Is it?
Okay.
So I
love
have
it.
A ton of water through Pisces in my chart. So I have a grand trine that is
I do too.
water.
Yeah. It's fucking funny. Yeah, I do too. All the water, darling. I love it. What do you have to say to anybody who wants to take it there, who wants to, like, they're in the closet, maybe they're in the closet in witchcraft or in spirituality, or they want to start doing light code language, or they feel like they're in channel, they've got all these messages, they don't know what to do with it all, they feel like they're weird, they feel like they're outcasts. They're trying to figure it out and they don't really know what to do and they feel like they're a weirdo. Those people, that version of me that was so long ago, but still she's there.
And me too. Yeah. I've been there as well. You know, what really helped me shift through that time in my life was coming to a realization that my purpose was bigger than my insecurities.
Oh, yes, girl. That part.
Yes. And truly ask yourself, this is like an easy way you can do quick, deep shadow work. Ask yourself, what is the risk and what is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is maybe a few people call me weird or think that I'm crazy, but maybe some people will actually transform and heal.
Hell yeah.
And so when I just put myself out there and I started to see the impact of my work, I think this is really crucial. You have to witness the impact of your work. That is when you truly realize why you have been planted in this dimension. Because if you have gifts and these things unfolding, it's not for you to keep them to yourself. Like what I was doing, probably what you were doing. Right? Oh, this is great. This is helping me in my life. And then my guys came in and they're like, you have to share that with other people. So if it's helping you and you can see the impact that it has for you, multiply that by like infinity, and that's what you're here to do.
So good. I love this like little segue that I'm seeing right now. Speaking of what you're talking about, how did you create the segue of charging for your gifts, of creating your spiritual empire? I think a lot of people that I talk to, a lot of light workers that are starting their business, that segue seems to be the hardest of feeling confident enough to charge, not like pennies though, like what you're actually worth. You guys feel seen. It is what it is. It is what it is. So, you know, what's your advice on helping people move through that phase?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That is a big one for healers and intuitives because again, there's this collective trauma around money and money being evil and money being the root of all of our problems. So it's natural for us to think, well, if I charge money, then that's going to reduce the credibility or the sacredness of my work. Yeah. And for anyone feeling like that, it goes back to what I was just saying about when you recognize the impact of your work and when you recognize that lives are actually transforming, you get to say to yourself, if I'm investing my time, my gifts, my energy into someone else's transformation, I deserve to be energetically compensated. And that's really what it is. It's just an energetic exchange. We are in the physical
I love what you said. If I'm devoting my time and my energy to someone else's transformation, that's deep. That's big. That's real. And I don't think people are looking at it in the way that, like, I'm devoting myself to your transformation. Yes. That's amazing.
The money is just a reflection of your devotion, what you contributed.
Yeah.
And what's even coming through now is like another connective piece. I'm sure they're like mostly women who are going to be listening to this. A part of the wounded feminine is overgiving. And so it's almost like I'm getting this parallel connection to how we show up in our relationships, where we give. But when it's time to receive, it's so difficult. And it's only because we've been conditioned to be in this perpetual state of overgiving and not knowing how to receive what we're worthy of, which is why it's uncomfortable for so many people to receive money.
Right.
Because you're used to just giving everything away for free, not, getting it back. And so that's what we're collectively working through, especially with the Divine Feminine Collective.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. You help us with business. You're a business coach and a spiritual coach as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So now they're receiving money and they want to build a business. What advice do you have for those folks who are in that weird limbo where, like, they're getting some money, they're seeing some traction, they're really feeling what they're doing, they want to start taking this seriously, they have no clue where to start, but they they follow some coaches, they follow some tarot readers.
This is the limbo I see a lot of people in.
Yes, me too. That's why it dawned on me to ask.
How I actually like to approach this is so funny, because I just shared something earlier that I was channeling from the sun on my morning walk. And the message was that the same lessons are available to us through joy as opposed to suffering. So many people are used to learning or earning things through suffering. And why I'm explaining it this way is because when I started my business, it really wasn't this big struggle story. And I know we're all at different points because I was coming from a successful career. I didn't even think about the money. So it was very easy for me to be in playfulness. It was very easy for me to have an attachment from like, oh, I'm trying to make this set amount. And all I cared about was the impact. And I think that's why I was able to launch off and like gain this momentum. So for many of you, if you're like, okay, I want to start taking this seriously, I want to build this business, the building and the seriously, the vibration of those two words within themselves, it's like you're approaching it as something that doesn't get to feel joyful. And that's where people start killing the momentum of what they could create easily. So if you're in a job, don't see that job as something that's holding you back. See it as something that's supporting you. So you can expand into full time. Because I see a lot of people who are like really, it's almost like they feel this pressure or this shame around
working and doing their business.
It's like
bizarre.
It's just see it as a gift. I'll be the first to say, and I make this clear to my guides, I am not resigning from my multi-six-figure career if this spiritual business is not popping.
Right.
I'm not doing it. It's not going to happen. No shame. And
I love it.
I didn't just jump off the cliff and leave work. No, I allowed myself to feel supported and safe.
Right.
And it took me a year before I said, okay, I feel comfortable enough to do this.
Yeah.
So work with what you have. Like the universe is willing to support you in the way that you need. There's no shame. So yeah.
I think that was so well put. I've noticed that too. It's like people don't want to say that like they have another job and like literally this is helping you build this empire. Allow it to help you for right now. Oh my God. So good. So good. So, where are you at right now? What are you offering? What are your services look like? How can people work with you? Give me all that, T.
I am currently being activated and initiated for my next offering, which the wait list is open, but Priestess Portal. And with a Priestess Portal, it's everything that we talked about today for the women who know that they are here as a channel, a healer, a light worker, so many different names we can call it. And they can feel this impact calling them, but they're stuck. And so we're going to be working through psychic development. We're going to be working through the practical business elements. And we're also going to be working through leadership. How do you truly start to see yourself as a leader? And what makes this container really different from anything that I've done is that I am bringing in some co-coaches to help. And we're also going to be working with microdosing, so plant medicine, because there's only so much I can do for people. There has to be an inner self-realization, and plant medicine is powerful for that. So I wanted to just bring in that element. But yeah, that's what's happening in my universe.
I love that. And there was something else I wanted to ask you. I wanted to dig into this whole idea of being a woman of color and in the spiritual field, but in the spiritual field of starseeds, galactic communication, channeling, all of that. It's almost kind of like there's a weird divide there as well.
Sure.
How do you feel about that? Yes. And if you want to speak to just being in the spiritual world, like what you had said earlier about how like I had never seen anybody venture this far, that rang so true the first time I worked with plant medicine or psychedelics in general. Like I'm still the person in my family that just, she doing some shit over there. We don't know what she's doing, but she's doing some shit.
Exactly. Because it's very acceptable. Like if I was a white woman or whatever else doing this type of thing, we'd be like, oh, another white woman doing something crazy and weird. And it's just kind of like, whatever, you know?
Right.
As a person of color, you just really stick out because it's hard for people to wrap their minds around like seeing yourself outside of this image that we're used to seeing Black people have.
Yeah, seeing people outside this image that we're used to seeing Black people have.
When it comes to money and abundance, it's like, oh, when we see a person of color who's successful, it's like, oh my God, you know? And so I think a part of what you and I are here doing is we're normalizing this. We're normalizing the fact that people of color can tap into this level of power. But what
should be.
And should be. And it's the most natural thing.
Right.
And for me, having an ego death experience is what was able, or what enabled me to truly experience my power beyond what I had been told about myself as a person of color. Like I had to just totally drop the avatar to go, I can literally remember within my consciousness going like, oh, and I'm a Black person. It's like, clicked where it was like,
wow.
All this power, I am source, I am God,
and a Black woman, honey.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like, wait, what? How is this? So, to your question, I think that's what souls like you and I are here doing. We chose these avatars. We incarnated into these lineages because this is what needs to be seen.
Oh my God, yes. I knew that was just going to take me somewhere. What does your family think about what you do?
Surprisingly, they hopped on board. And not that they necessarily understand everything. And
I mean, you know, especially in any family, but in a family of color, telling your mom or dad that you are channeling angels, that's a big fucking statement. You know what I mean?
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. So how do they move? My family doesn't ask a lot of questions. They know I'm doing some shit. Like I said, they don't ask a lot of questions.
You know, my family is the same. I can literally remember like shaking, getting ready to tell my mom and my sister like what I do because I was going public with it. So I was like, shit, like, I have to tell them. And that was actually the first time too that I recognized that I had been in the spiritual closet. You have to be like very authentic. So they responded in a way that I didn't quite expect. So I told them I was a channel. They didn't really understand what that was. So I said, psychic medium. And they went, oh. and it was just shocking to me because, well, my sister, she goes, that makes sense for you. And then my mom goes, really? And she starts just asking me different.
Do they ask if you talk to dead people? Did they ask you that? I've gotten that.
My mom wanted me to like it. She's so cute. She wanted me to like interpret her dreams. And she's like, oh, this thing has been happening to me. And this thing. But my guides had also told me that particularly my mom was going to have a soul knowing. She's also a earth angel and a starseed, a very, very high vibrational person. And so, yeah, they supported me. They don't ask too many questions. I can always feel into what they might be ready to hear and what not. But they do know mainly my mom, she knows the full scope of like galactic beings and a bunch of other things that I've shared with her.
So she's down for it. She's here for it.
Yeah. And what was interesting is she also shared some of her own experiences with like psychic gifts and that type of thing. And it's like, I mean, these gifts come from somewhere. Typically, we choose a lineage where there's going to be some type of resonance or the vibration DNA will allow us to hold this level of consciousness. So there are likely other people in your family who have never spoken on their gifts or never spoken on their experiences.
Until they're asked or they're in a situation. Yeah. I noticed that too. As people in my family were starting to understand more and more what I do, starting to watch my content and things like that, I just kind of took it as let my content speak for itself. If you have questions, go to my content. I have spent a lot of time, money, and energy on my brand. And if you have questions, go there. And, you know, their stuff comes up. They're like, oh, you know, when I was 16, I had this dream, or like all these weird things start coming up. And, you know, I'm talking people that are religious, you know, and like you said, these gifts, they do have to come from somewhere. And it's almost like I often need to remember and remind myself that my authenticity gives somebody else the space to be equally as authentic. Like we are mirrors.
Yes.
And I've seen that through looking at the shadow of my family members as they've also gone through this transition with me that is StarSeedShadows, you know, because they're on the ride too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That is so beautifully said. I have an uncle who apparently has been seeing spirits for like forever. And so for me, the person in the family to step out and do this crazy shit, I got people at the cookout walking up to me and asking, oh, hey, you do Reiki, right?
I
or
love
like
it.
crystals, or oh, I see this. And you would just never expect some of these things.
You never, ever do. And that is why, you know, working online can be hard. It can be intense. You know, you're online. And then you remember that me being as authentic and showing up the way I am is literally helping others do the same. And I look at others who are doing the same, like you, Erin, who are doing the same and just showing up fucking authentically. This is what it is. This is what's happening. You know, I'm shifting with you. Let's all shift. Let's all do this. Let's all move. Right.
And the more of us that start to embrace who we are, we co-create this space where now it's normalized.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I feel like we're moving to. I feel like we're slowly but surely getting there. I always think it'll be interesting to see what the world looks like in 2050.
I know.
Because we'll see it, hopefully. we'll see it. And you know what I mean? So like, you know, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what it looks like, especially this hub, this spiritual hub that you and we're in the same age group, have witnessed just grow insanely.
Yeah. Insanely.
Like when we started doing this stuff, nobody was doing this stuff.
Yeah. and I want to talk about how that, even aspects of that, for me personally, I can say has even been triggering sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's something that's so personal and so sacred.
It's very sacred.
To see these things go mainstream.
They're just like, all of it. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's cool now. Like, 7 years ago, I was the crazy one. And
literally,
now you see the same people who thought you were crazy because you stopped eating meat or you were talking about crystals and manifestation and now you're into it. And so there is part of our spiritual ego too that has to go through, like, you know what? Let them have at it, right? Like,
yes. Oh my God, I love it.
All of this spirituality, like, like nobody owns it, you know?
No, right.
So that was something I had to move through as well.
Yeah. I could talk to you all day. Spiritual ego, you said. Do you think there's a difference between ego, and spiritual ego?
Not really. It's just layers, you know?
Yeah.
The spiritual ego, you know, it can be more subtle because it's very easy to say, oh, I'm in my ego, like, or this person's in their ego because they're feeling jealous or like all those things the human emotions you go through. But the spiritual ego, it sneaks up on you. It's so interesting because the last few days I've been channeling on the healer's ego, meaning like, oh, like I am this healer that now people are coming to, and I gotta pull my file. You know, there's just so many ways that the ego finds a way
to manifest,
to attach an identity. So even if you are someone out there, you are a healer, a priestess, or you're putting this information out there, at the end of the day, it's actually not about you. Just like it's not about me. It's not about any of us. It's about being a vessel for the mind to flow.
It's about the mission, honey.
It's about the mission. And I have to continuously remind myself, Erin, guess what? It's not about you. Because I'm the face of my brand, right? I'm
I got to show up.
I'm the shit. But it's like, okay, honey, you're just the vessel.
You're just the vessel, baby.
You're just the
vessel.
Yes,
that's it.
Exactly.
Oh God, I love it. Okay, so where can people find you? What platforms do you like to hang out on? What's your IG handle? All of that.
So I am Erin Lyons Official on Instagram, on TikTok, and I'm Erin Lyons on YouTube. So those are the three main ways that you can just consume and digest my content.
I love it. And I know you said that you are gearing up for an offer coming up. Do you have anything else? Any one-on-ones, any opportunities, any other opportunities for people to work with you?
I do have one-on-ones that are currently open. So you can head to erinlyonsofficial.com and head to the private one-on-one channeling activation sessions. And I am currently open. However, when my new offering opens up, probably late October, early November, I will be closing those down for a bit of time. So just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. This was amazing.
Thank you. This was incredible. Thank you.
So good. You're so welcome. Thank you so much. You already know you are forever in my universe. Be my friend. But awesome. All right, guys, we will see you in the next one. Thanks, Erin. Oh, hey, boo. Did you love today's episode? Make sure to give me that 5-star review. And if you're ready for it, let's go all the way and leave me a written review on Apple Podcasts. Whenever you all rate these reviews, it helps boost the dreaded algorithm, honey. And that is to say, it helps other light workers just like you find this work. And sharing is caring. And I appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to take a screenshot, share it on the gram, StarSeedShadows, tag me in it, and I will share it back. See you in the next one.